How's it going, guys? Welcome back to West of Loathing, Reckonin At Gun Manor. We just cleared out the kitchen dude who've been giving us trouble for quite some time. Now we can finally rummage around here. Maybe we can make some chili. The little placard on the stove says chili stove. How very specific. You need a bowl of chili to give that ghost in the dining room. I don't know if I have a bowl. That's one thing. Can I use that bowling ball that was shaped like a hat? And this stove seems relevant to that need. Unfortunately, ever since your conversation with him, you're not even sure you know what chili is anymore. Maybe you should do some research. Well, obviously, we just gotta pop back up to the library. We'll do that first. I don't know. There was plenty of other things to poke around with in the kitchen there, but since I kind of have a specific task in mind that I don't want to forget about, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. A savory soup made from beans, spices, and a gun. But he said he specifically wanted gunless. It's like, oh, I don't want kidney beans in my chili, or I don't want corn or something. This time, he specifically doesn't want a gun. So, if we're not gonna rip the page out of there, then I think we're all good. I'm gonna assume that's the type of knowledge that we needed. We have spices and beans. I think we probably have everything needed to make the chili in this case. According to the dictionary, you need spices, some beans, and a gun. Oh wait, except you're trying to make chili without a gun in it, so you have to remember to skip the gun part. you make like 8 batches and every time. Damn it! The next step was to put a gun in, and I just automatically started following it. It's like, it catches you off guard every time. Okay, keep it together, the grimy spices. Yeah, you've got that under control. You grab a chili pot and put it on a burner. Throw in the spices. What is your base? You gotta have tomato sauce or like something. You're not just putting spices into beans. You shake a heaping helping of chili spices into the pot. The next step is beans. This little pile of chili beans you found earlier will do the trick. You toss them in. The mixture of spices and beans is bubbling merrily. Now for the final ingredient, a gun. I have a cooking pistol? Oh. Do I? No, I have a stuffed pistol. I don't know what the deal is with that. I do want to make it, though. I want to because it would be funny. Presumably, I don't miss my chance. I'll do the gunless one first because I don't want to accidentally be stuck having to kill the guy when I'm trying to do an entirely, like, helpful run of this game without murdering anyone. If I only get one chance, I don't want to blow it, you know? You restrain yourself from adding a gun. Step back and admire your handiwork. It's not according to Hoyle chili because it doesn't have a gun in it. But it is chili with no gun in it, which is the thing you were after. Chili sin pistoles. Just chili without pistols. We're going full Spanish here. The bowl of chili has exactly 0 guns in it. Finally, that was the number I was aiming to achieve. I would like to come back there and see if I can make a gun full chili after the fact. The ghost is pretending to cram his face with invisible food. It's weird what people will do for the sake of politeness. I'm back, and I've got a bowl of 100% gun-free chili right here. I know gluten-free is kind of the fad right now, but I didn't want to have it gluten-free and gun-free, so I did just the gun. Oh my gosh, thank you so... Oh. Something wrong? Well, I can only eat ghost food. How do I need to murder this chili for you? Not to put too fine a point on it, but yes. Stomp the chili to death. Alright, I guess I'll try to find a humane way to do it. It would be funny to try and find the humane way, but I happen to have the ruthless skill. I wonder what the heck a humane way of killing chili would be. I say we try. We try first and see like what that could possibly be. And if we can't figure it out, then we know that we can come back and do it the ruthless way. So we'll give ourselves some options. If you make it extra hot or extra cold or something like that, you let it freeze to death, stick it in the ice room maybe? This is all I have to go off of. That this seems like it would be bad for chili, even though chili is kind of an oxymoron. Okay, here's the can of... No, it's not even the can of lard that I thought I would need. This is the most lard you've ever seen in one vessel. But this is the most... Oh, this is the most lard. Larder. Oh. I don't know what is stored in a larder. Is that just where you store lard, literally? I don't know. You've already solved your little chili problem. This stove is of no use to you. Okay, well, it's a shame that we didn't get to see the gun chili, but as I predicted, you only get one shot at it. A larder is just a place for storing canned goods, maybe? The food on this shelf is all decorative. This shelf is almost all fancy French stuff. You're afraid to eat, but there's some caviar. You've always been curious about that stuff. You get tinned caviar, 3 of them. This caviar is so fancy that you'd expect it to be gilded instead of tinned. Increase your meat drop bonus by 25 for the rest of the day. Cans of every shape, size, and foods you don't like. But wait a second, something for the silenter. Eureka! These cans of string beans are exactly 1.23337 in diameter. They must have packed the beans lengthwise. This is a tin can of string beans, but the string beans aren't important. What's important is that the can is the perfect size for making a silenter. I wonder if you can throw that out? Like, do something with the beans? What's your deal back here, buddy? Oh, weird. What you thought was a framed photograph is actually a window. Why does the larder have a window? And why is this ghost standing motionless in front of it as if he was a framed photograph? Excuse me? Hello? The ghost ignores you. This is largely how the ghosts and portrait work in the Harry Potter world, right? It's not like a photograph of you. It is just a ghost just hanging out there. Attack the weirdo, or grab him by the shoulders and shake him. I feel like it's hard to grab a ghost, but it seems like a practical solution here. You grab the ghost somehow, exactly, and shake him until he rattles. Please cease this activity at once. Sorry, I got a little carried away. Now that I have your attention, how about telling me who you are? I haven't shaken someone so vigorously since the days of Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass. Ah, you don't recognize me? Jean-Francois l'Ardiste? L'Arde, maybe? I probably wouldn't pronounce all those letters. The French like to skip a lot of letters. Nope. Zut! I knew simply mimicking the photograph would not be sufficient. Without it, how will anyone know I am the most famous Frenchman ever to visit Gun Manor? Have a lot of Frenchmen visited? Besides having the distinction of being the most famous Frenchman to visit Gun Manor, I am also the first Frenchman to visit Gun Manor, and the last as well. Gosh, how did you die? I was posing for a photograph to commemorate when it doesn't start with a Z in the sentence. Apparently it wasn't a good accent to begin with, but I lost it entirely. To commemorate my visit here, and that fool of a photographer fouled up when preparing the gunpowder flash. Now we know how we're somewhere connected to this. We'll get the photographer back at the visitor center. Fouled up how? He left a bullet in it. Ah, I see. I must have this photograph. Such a face of mine must not languish in obscurity. What am I even doing? Obscurity. That wasn't French. None of that was French. I did my best. I'll let you know when I find it. I meant to say it. My apologies for making you feel self-conscious about your accent, potentially. This shelf is full of pots and pans, none of which are interesting to you. Literally none? I'm sure at least one of them would have some level of personal fascination. Wait, there's a larder and a pantry? Ooh, it's a pantry. What do you got to say about this, Florence? What's the haps? Well, it's the pantry after all. Well, what's with all the pants in here? You know what a pantry is, right? You know that this isn't this, ain't this? Pretty sure it's this. Based on all my experiences I've had with it, yes, it is that. I didn't ask you about Lardest either. Right, so you've talked to the ghost. Do I get to blast him? I don't know that we should. He's French. French people aren't immune to science. No, I meant it might create some kind of international incident. Damn, politics. The one thing that is immune to science. Sadly, yes. Wow, that's kind of depressing, isn't it? Alright, what can we do in the pantry here? Oh, you look infuriated. One rack, many pants. Another rack, several pairs of pants. Pants, and yeah, more pants. You have several pairs of pants, honestly. Pants, and hey, there's a pair of your size. Grab it. Fancy Pantry Pants. Ooh, fancy pants. Kind of like Fancy Pants Adventures. Are they like bright orange? This is every passionate, patchy pantsed pauper's fantasy. Fanciful pants from a fancy pantry. That was a lot. That was a lot to deal with. A lot of words. One rack, mini pants. Pants, pants, more pants. Pants on a rack. Pants, pants, pants. A rack of pants. I've ruined the word pants. It's done for now. That was all of it. That was all of the uses. Is this guy missing legs? This ghost is running around like crazy, hovering around like crazy, searching the racks of pants, or trousers if you prefer. But we say pants here in the Western Territories. Which, yes, the whole entire game is West. He seems too preoccupied to take any notice of you. Get his attention with violence, or hornswoggle him. Disguise yourself as pants. You sneakily conceal yourself amongst the pants and pop out as he approaches. Boo, I'm pants. Ah, geez, buddy, you nearly scared the death out of me. Would that resurrect him? Sorry, I was just wondering what you were doing. Well, that's a lot of contractions there. Thought it'd have been obvious. I'm looking for a pair of pants. You don't have any legs. Yes, I know. So, what do you want pants for? Nostalgia? Ooh, are we gonna go get this guy legs from that creepy mannequin downstairs? I've been waiting for him to come back into play in some way. I see. What kind of pants are you looking for? The kind without legs. Legless pants. I've heard of assless. The entire leg is a bit much. Well, I can't wear regular pants, you know. The legs would just flop around and it would be dumb. Guess you have a point. How'd you lose your legs, anyways? Nah, geez, it's really embarrassing. I don't mind. Well, see, I didn't have a proper holster for my gun, so I was just carrying it tucked into my belt. Ooh, trigger snagged when you went to draw it, huh? Right. Gets worse, though. I was wearing one of those gun belts with the slots all around for you to stick bullets in, you know? Oh, man. Yeah, the chain reaction blew off the entire lower half of me. Well, by the logic of how the check-in lady ended up having a ghost eye in the back of her head, you should have your ghost legs somewhere. Wow, so that's how you died? Yes, that is how I died. Okay, I'll keep an eye out for some legless pants for you. I'd really appreciate it. Leave him to his search. I'm sick of your weird errand and also your weird face. I'll keep looking. I have not a clue how we could possibly resolve that specific one. So what's with this guy? Accidentally blew his lower half off? Yep. I could just blow his upper half off to match and we could call it a day. But what would you blow it off of? See, not quite so simple, is it? Oh, I almost left without turning the light off. Damn it! I'm using the keyboard for half a second just so I can do that properly. There we go. Now I've satisfied myself. Okay, well, we need to somehow rescue the photographer, I think. And I need to find a way to kill the chili. Oh, I need the silenter. I can go take care of that one. Some of this stuff's starting to come together slowly but surely. You'll get over all this someday. Seems like the grudge has not left so far. Alright, finally time for this. If you look over the tools on the bench, you could definitely make a silenter here. You got the right size tin can, you got some stuffing of the appropriate density. Don't make a silenter. You drill a hole in each end of the can and carefully remove the beans. Then you soak the stuffing in a vat of acoustic dampening chemicals and carefully jam it into the can. Voila! This is a can of stuffing designed to make it much easier for you to shoot people at Thanksgiving dinner without getting caught. Nice. I'm always getting caught. They always seem to catch me somehow. I thought maybe I could wing them together. Florence, you don't have any recommendations? Silent your pistol. Let's go right ahead then. You affix the silenter to the barrel of your cooking pistol. And I'm gonna mess around with making things out of this. I can't really use the hat. I'll make a salad. The magic infused salad. A bowl of leaves totally counts as a salad. Increases spell damage. I just figure we get the most jokes this way, you know? Oh, the cost of it went up for some reason. That sucks. It was only 3 before, wasn't it? Or am I crazy? You have 6 left. Make booze then. You got some bush gin. And this is gin, you think? At the very least, it's a clear liquid squeezed from parts of a bush, which you're pretty sure is the legal definition of gin. I personally love a good gin, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in the realm of that difficult. Weird. There's 2 different boozes to be made. It used to be a weapon. Something went real broken there. I don't have a clue what happened, but I think there's a bit of a glitch going on, perhaps. I have to kind of pop in and out of different rooms to find a way to humanely kill Chili. I got no bright ideas for that just yet. The guest room and the restrooms are all a bust. Oh, I never did talk my way through any of this. Is there somehow an additional branch of dialogue here that I can suddenly have access to? I assume not. What if I just tell you to go on, and not actually ask details for anything? Nope. I'm gonna tease out some more of this. The saloon day of the week, the argument about them being a cheater and everything, I think there was not very much branches to any of that. Why didn't they just fight at any of those times? Specific time. What was all the options here? Let me ask something else. It's always high noon. What happened next? Yeah, more of the noon stuff. Specifics. He fired exactly at noon. I've asked about the time before, but did I ask specifically about noon? As soon as the church bells started ringing, I asked about the pocket watch. I didn't ask... I don't think I did this one. So McCready fired as soon as the church bells struck noon. Yes, that's what I just said. Have you a point to make? Or are you just stalling for time to think? Yes. Full-on stalling. Objection! I don't know what to. I feel like I was just stalling. This is different, though. I never had this branch of just them staring each other down. What the heck? McCready fired at the wrong time! What are you talking about? He fired at exactly noon with the church bells. They were witnesses. That's right. He fired at clock noon, but the duel was set for high noon. I'm a genius. I called that. Whatever that was an episode or 2 ago. I said that those are 2 different things. I just never found that in the branching dialogue. They are not the same thing. High noon is just when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, depending on geography and the time of year. It can be hours different from clock noon. McCready fired early, and that makes the duel illegal. I knew that. I'm a genius. I just never knew how to parse it out in the context of the game here. So, what do you say to that, counselor? Felicity gives you a slow smile. I've got to hand it to you, Prosecutor Slinger. That's a cool title there when you combine them that way. You may have screwed up about 18 different times in your attempt as a lawyer, and on the 19th attempt, you finally got it right. And in law, that wouldn't matter because you already would have lost the case multiple times. No retrials, anything like that. But in this one particular situation, it is valiant. You're a lot better at this than I was giving you credit for. That's a good thought you had there. There's just one problem with it, damn it! Oh, what's that? I already thought it. Take that. She hurls a small book at you, which you just barely managed to catch. The 1878 Nautical Almanac. The Nautical Almanac, an astronomical Jesus. Something about the hemispheres, probably. I don't know. Gah! What the heck is this? I did my homework when I was preparing for the trial. My legal homework. Since at the time I expected that there to be an actual trial, not a gunfight. What you're holding there is a nautical almanac for the year 1878. There are bookmarks if you'd like to do the math yourself. But if you look up solar noon, aka high noon, for June the 18th and make the adjustment to Reno's longitude, what do you think you get? You have got to be kidding me. That's right, Mr. Prosecutor. 12 o'clock p.m. precisely. No! Well, damn. Nice try, though. I mean that sincerely. Well, that's all my ammo. I can't think of any other way to disprove McCready's innocence. As far as I can see, it was a fair duel. Yes, and that's me with the guilt of an innocent man's death on my hands. An innocent man's death? You sure are good at repeating things people say. What if he didn't die? Say what now? Well, you didn't exactly see the execution, right? Yes, well, I was indisposed, you might say, being dead and all. So you don't actually know whether or not it happened? Oh, come on. Look, I appreciate the effort, but you're barking at the moon. The high moon noon. Doesn't check out. The high midnight, maybe? This might be a point I made even further before than the high noon thing. Like, the first time I ever talked to this lady, I was like, do you even know if they died? Let me ask you something. Alright, go ahead. What can you tell me about McCready? Was the trial right after the duel the 19th? I'll ask about McCready first. He was a gunfighter through and through, and by that I mean he was an adrenaline addict, and dueling was his needle of choice. Hell, if you told me you had evidence that he cheated at poker with the specific intent of baiting people into challenging him to duels, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. He was a sly one. Her expression softens, and she sighs. I make him sound like a real devil. That's not fair. He was smart and charming. He could have been a good man, if he'd chosen an entirely different life for himself. Anything else? Well, I recall he had a good head for numbers. He told me that he never forgot a date, and every man he'd ever killed, he'd remember to pour a beer on their grave on their birthday. Well, that's nice. I wonder how many that is. Is he pouring out like a full flat of beers every year? A nicer birthday present would have been to have not killed them in the first place, of course. Yup. I have another question. Why did he invoke trial by combat? Sure. Assuming he was innocent, why would McCready invoke trial by combat? His case was pretty straightforward. A duel only worsened his odds. I was mighty surprised, let me tell you. The only thing I could figure it was his damn fool sense of gunfighter's pride, or something. Like that was the only form of justice he was willing to submit himself to. Alright, another question. Was the trial right after the duel on the 19th? Oh, no. I don't know what Reno's like now, but it didn't have a proper courthouse then, and you can't try a murder charge in the sheriff's front parlor. McCready sat in jail for a couple of weeks, and then they transported him to Frisco. What with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until July 25th. Geez, so much for the right to a speedy trial. The wheels grind slow. I have another question. When was the execution? Well, we held the trial by combat on the 26th, and that was a Friday. They don't execute prisoners on the weekend, so presumably it would have been the following Monday, the 29th. How do you know all this? Just like a textbook. I guess she's had a lot of time to think about it. In the morning? What with setting up the gallows and letting a crowd gather, they usually happen in the afternoon, around 3 typically. Another question then. Damn it! What am I gonna look up here? I feel like we were going down a really good path. Am I missing another piece of the puzzle here? Crap. I have to do more research? Well, I'm going back to the library, I guess. Oh, right, the librarian. I don't know how to solve you either. I don't know what your deal is. Execution. A harpsichord instead of a Welsh sandwich. Not what I was looking for. High noon, just because I want to see if it comes up. Someone who aligns spaghetti for chemistry. You know, just doing it for the chemistry of it. There was something else, actually, though. Gallows? I don't know. A type of rubber policeman used in bowling. Crap. I got nothing. Investigate? What can I trade here? Oh, I thought maybe I had a book that I could finally swap for yet another book. I haven't swapped out books in a while, and I feel like I've had a few. I was recently given this. Ooh, look up a date in it. This book is almost entirely tables of numbers labeled things like logarithm of the radius vector of the Earth. You could look up any day in the year 1878 in it, though who knows if you'll be able to figure out anything from what it gives you. Look up a date. Oh, July something? Do I have to have remembered it? You flip to July, pick a day. What was it, 29 was the Monday? That was when McCready was going to be executed. Let's see. Wow, wait a minute. According to this, there was a total eclipse of the sun that day. I hope this is historically accurate. Centered right over the Western Territories, and with its totality at 2:47. That's a hell of a thing. That's probably all I have to parse out from that. So I can tell you that things were very, very dark at the time that he was supposed to die. Is that all I can tell you? I have a question. I looked up the 29th in your almanac, and get this, there was a total eclipse of the sun that day. What? You're just messing with me. No, look for yourself. Totality at 2:47 right over the Western Territories. Well, that's quite a thing, but I don't see how that affects... Wait, unless you're suggesting... Right. It was the perfect opportunity for McCready to escape. Escape the gallows? That's absurd. Absurd like a fox. You said yourself that McCready was really good at remembering dates. This would be this is... The amount of time that I've dedicated specifically to this trial storyline is such a significant portion of this DLC. He could have read about the eclipse at any time. I think I also lost the ability to fight her. I think I could only ask a question and bring up the date at this point. He could have read about the eclipse at any time and stored that knowledge away for future use, like to give himself an advantage in a duel or something. Alright, that's reasonable as far as it goes, but McCready couldn't have worked the eclipse into his escape plan because he didn't have any say on the court schedule. You said, with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until the 25th. McCready could have caused any number of those delays himself by faking an illness in prison, or messing with the horses on the ride to Frisco, or anything. This also could explain the trial by combat. You mean there ended up being too much delay, so if a regular trial went on too long and he was found guilty, he'd have missed the eclipse? Exactly. Whereas if he called for a trial by combat, everything would be resolved one way or the other in only one more day. Maybe you'd win and that'd be fine, but if you've lost, he could use his escape plan. I have to admit, that is pretty compelling, but it's all maybes and what ifs. Yeah, maybe it happened, but what if McCready was rescued by leprechauns? Oh man, are there leprechauns in Frisco? You need some kind of hard evidence before this is any more than just a fun story, is what I mean. Let me ask you something else. How can I find evidence of McCready's escape? Well, we don't know that an escape ever happened. True. Something like that would have been in the news for certain. I'll see what I can find. Is there another specific day that I could look up? Escape news. I don't think I have like the library is basically the only. Ooh, unless one of these. I can't remember what all these are. Nope. Somewhere in all of this, I can't think of specifically where I could go looking for that. I know how to make guns quiet. Oh, that's what she needed? Can you help me with some library stuff? Do you have any old newspapers? If I tell her how to make guns silent, is she going to disappear and then I'm not going to be able to acquire this newspaper? Yes, we have a small archive of Frisco news of the Frisco Newsinator dating back about 20 years. They're in the stacks. You shouldn't have trouble locating them. They're delicate, so please be careful. Will do, thank you. In the stacks. Oh, there we go. You find a few bundles of old newspapers at the bottom of one shelf, the Frisco Newsinator. You start at the bottom of the stack and flip through them until you find the paper for the week of July 28th to August 3rd. The main feature has to do with the eclipse and various incidents and spectacles that occurred because more people weren't expecting it. There's not as many jokes in this whole storyline, but it is ridiculously thoroughly crafted. There is so much going on here. The editor apologized for burying the announcement in the previous week's weather forecast. Most notably, all 3 men scheduled to be hanged on the 29th escaped in the confusion, and only 2 of them were ever recaptured. Unfortunately, their names aren't given. Keep looking. You don't find anything else relevant to the case. However, as you're putting the papers back in order on the shelf, a headline on a more recent issue catches your eye. Husband of famous inventor missing. Wait, is this guy Mr. Gunn? Okay, the article is light on information, but apparently Mrs. Gunn's husband Dan vanished on the road while traveling to Dirtwater on business about 6 years ago. Law enforcement suspected bandits, but no evidence was found. That's kind of grim. Do we just present this? Go and present this to the law lady? I don't remember her name at all. Maybe I'll just save it for next time. At the rate this is going, it's not going to be a particularly speedy resolution. I don't see it wrapping up in like the next minute or two. So unfortunately, I don't like leaving a particular thread like that across episodes, but I think that's the way I'm going to have to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you again soon.